criminal defense attorney, and former D.C. police detective Ted Williams, and former FBI special agent Manny Gomez. You know, once again, Ted, we see what? We saw the police, we saw the sheriff, we saw the FBI, we see first responders, you see everybody, the superintendent, the governor, the attorney general, everybody really all hands on deck today. And it's days like today that you realize I was watching this all unfold live when I was on my radio show today, and just how amazing these people are. But they, you know, it's after the fact. Do we need to reconsider safety for these schools?
Well, yeah, I think we do. But let me say, Sean, from the beginning, the interview you just had with those two young women, we saw the best of America in those two young women. And when you look at this guy, Nicholas Cruz, you're seeing, as the governor said, pure evil. This was a cold-blooded, calculated, carried out carnage, massacre. And we do have to start rethinking how we have guards and security in these various schools. The sad commentary, though, Sean, is we cannot make our schools a prison. We did have a guard there, but if somebody is hell-bent on going in a school and killing people and killing young people, 12 of these beautiful young people are dead tonight. This is a tragedy, Sean, in and of itself.
Yeah, this is not a political statement. I know I'm known for talking politics all the time. This is not political. I don't think it is something that most people would disagree with. And Manny, I'll throw this to you, is that if you're in any administrative building, in this case it's a school, and it seems that there's got to be greater order in terms of monitoring who's getting into these schools. I know schools that monitor and control who gets into them. It can be done, and it can be done fairly easily. But more importantly, and they did have a guard, but I mean, a school this big that has 3,200 students and multiple buildings, it seems to me you need a few people in each building, retired military, retired police, and I would think over time that families, we're not talking about all that much money at the end of the day if each district, you know, is paying for that security. We have every building I walk into in New York City, every single building. If I don't have an ID, I will go through security, and if I don't have a clearance, I'm not getting in. And if we can do it in every building in New York post 9/11, I would think we could do it in every school in America if we want to.
I totally agree with you, Sean.
And it's not controversial. This isn't a gun debate.
No, this has nothing to do with guns. This has to do with protecting our children. I totally agree with you in terms of having former military and or former law enforcement. One way to do it is to perhaps federalize it. After 9/11, we went from a private security system in most airports to TSA under Homeland Security.
It's a great example.
So that might be something that Congress may want to consider, and moving forward, set up a federal system to protect our schools, because some school districts honestly don't have the budget for it, or may not be willing to raise taxes for it, even though it's a necessary thing.
I don't. At the end of the day, are we going to put a price? I remember the movie years ago, Lean on Me. It was about the principal, Joe Clark.
Right.
And he got in trouble because he chained the school doors shut. That's not necessarily the answer. There should be very specific entry points, and other entry points should be closed off. Right. But beyond that, I think you need, and look, I don't even know if it would have been applicable in this situation, but I got to believe in some situations that if you have first-line defenders there, people that are trained, you know, retired military, retired police, that they're going to be able to at least hold off for the 5 minutes. The police got there. The sheriff got there. Right. They got there as fast as humanly possible.
They did a great
SWAT
job.
team was there. First responders were there. They did everyone did their job today and did it so well.
Right.
But I'm just thinking for the long term, we've got to secure these schools Again, it's not about guns. It's secure the schools.
100%.
Well, I got to tell you, both of you guys, I disagree. It is also about guns. If you put a security guard in with a pop gun in one of these schools and you got a guy coming in with an AR-15 rifle, he could even take that security guard and somebody else.
No, Ted,
out.
I'm talking about armed former military and armed former police. These are people we trust. My guess would be in most schools, in most communities, those retired military and retired police would become the best friends of the students over time. They'd get to know each other. It would be good all the way around for everybody. Win-win. Safety, security. We can secure anything we want to secure in this country, and nobody's going to convince me otherwise.
I totally agree. So going back to former military, former law enforcement, as an added benefit, going back to your win-win, now you have somebody who's been trained, and if there's other things going on in the school, vis-a-vis drugs, bullying, things like that, this is a trained professional that could deal with that, identify it, investigate it and deal with it. So that's an added benefit of having somebody of that caliber there. But it has to be funded, and it has to be a serious conversation where we as a nation say enough, and we need to fund this, just perhaps, like I mentioned, the TSA program.
All right, Ted, last word for you. I was not talking about unarmed former retired military police, Ted. They don't have to be showing they could obviously, have it concealed, but they certainly would be the front line of defense. But I do believe securing those doors, nobody that is expelled from the school should have access to that school, ever. The other thing is paying attention to mental health issues or disgruntled kids or disciplinary issues, looking at the social media footprint of a kid you throw out of school. Apparently, we're learning from Trace Gallagher, we could have learned a lot about this kid. And that happens after almost every shooting. People are telegraphing where they're headed.
Well, you're right. If you see something, you need to say something. And we don't have enough of that. But I was also happy, I must say, and I'm using the word happy, about and encouraged by what Pam Bundy, the Attorney General, said down there as it pertains to the death penalty. Sean, when you put gas masks on, when you take smoke bombs, you go into school, you pull an alarm, you are able to shoot all of these people, and then you are able to leave that school, and I want to find out that you're mentally ill. I have a serious problem with mental illness when you have the common decency and sense to know how to do all of that.
I know schools that have this security, and it works. Thank you both. Manny, thank you. Ted, thank you.